Hi students, welcome to our science class. Our chapter name is Essentials for Life, Air and Water. Today we are going to conclude this chapter and we are on the topic removal of impurities. Removal of impurities from water. Inside that we are discussing about insoluble substances. Which are the insoluble substances? Insoluble substances are the examples sand, then wood powder, like different things are insoluble substances. That means they are not getting dissolved in water. So we discussed about sedimentation. Sedimentation means when we are just keeping the beaker undisturbed for some time, what happens? The insoluble substances are getting deposited under the water and that process is called what? Sedimentation. We discussed that. And then we discussed about decantation. Decantation. What is this decantation? Decantation means we already said that this is connected each other. When the sedimentation happens, we know that when the insoluble substances are getting deposited under water, when we are removing that pure water from the top side and we are just leaving the unsoluble or the insoluble unwanted particles at the bottom, that is what decantation. That means removal of the pure water from the insoluble substances by just pour it out. That is what decantation. And within these topics, one more thing is there, that is filtration. Filtration. So today first of all we are going to discuss about filtration. What is this filtration? How we can do this filtration? To whom we are doing this filtration? And what is the definition for this filtration? All the things we are going to discuss first. For discussing filtration, we just want to discuss one example and that example is this, the mixture of sand and water. Mixture of sand and water. That is, I am just going to take a beaker, filling it with water and add some sand in it and stir it well. So this is a beaker, filling it with water. Now, the thing is this, I am just adding some sand inside this and mixing this. So now this is water plus sand. Now my aim is this to separate this. We know we can do the sedimentation, decantation, all the things we can do. Now we are discussing about the filtration. For this filtration, we just want something and that is filter paper. It is a type of paper we are using to filter some sort of things. So, for the filtration, we need filter paper. For the filtration, we need filter paper. So, the thing is this, here we just take one funnel. Before that, I am just separating the pure water inside this beaker. This is the second beaker, beaker number 2. And I just want to separate the sand inside this water and I want to take the clear water. For that, I just want one funnel. This is what our funnel. So this is one funnel and I want one filter paper. Actually this is not filter paper, this is normal color paper. I am just showing you how we are using the filter paper. Now in my hand there is having no filter paper. We are just showing what happens, so what we are doing with the filter paper. So we are just taking the filter paper and cut that in the shape of a circle. And then just fold it like this. Then we are making a cone using this filter paper. paper. Now you can see this is a cone. I just made one cone using the paper. So this is one cone. I just want to make this cone by having no hole here. So this is the setup for the filter paper. Now take our funnel and put this filter paper inside this funnel. And now we just want to put this on our beaker and pour this mixture of water and sand through this. So you can see that the sand will be left on our filter paper, the water will be come through this opening, and we can get the clean water, the pure water here, and the mixture that we made here, the sand will left in this filter paper. So this is the procedure that we are doing using the filter paper for the filtration. So what we are doing, we are just taking this mixture and pour this mixture through this filter paper. So the big sand particles are left on this filter paper and the water will be there, we can collect on a separate beaker. So this is the process of filtration using filter paper. So now we are going to study two terms regarding this filtration. That means, here I already said that in the filter paper we get sand and in that beaker we get water. For that two things, it have separate names when the filtration occurs. So for this funnel, inside we just kept the filter paper, and inside this filter paper we get our sand. Sand, or what impurities are there mixed, or what things are we mixed in the water that we get here. That insoluble substances, when the substances are soluble, this filtration is not at all practical. So this sand is called residue. Residue. R-E-S-I-D-U-E. Residue. So the sand, that means what we get inside the filter paper is residue. And we separated the pure water in another beaker. So this is filtrate. So what we get after the filtration is filtrate here. This is water. So we can call the water is filtrate, and we can call this sand that we get inside the filter paper is what? Residue. So these two terms just remember, residue and filtrate. These two things occurs after the filtration. Now we are going to study the definition for filtration. What is the definition for filtration? Very simple. It is the process. It is the process of filtering impurities using a filter paper. Using a filter paper. So this is the definition for filtration. It is the process of filtering. Here we are doing the filtration or filtering impurities using a filter paper. What we are using? We are using filter paper. So this is the process of filtering impurities using filter paper. Very simple definition. So this is all about our filtration. Now we can say that the separation of impurities, that is the insoluble substances, topic is over. Now we want to discuss about the soluble impurities. How we can separate. Soluble impurities. How we can separate the soluble impurities? That is the question. So the first method we want to study is evaporation. So for explaining this evaporation, we just want to take one example, and that is the example for salt and water. That means the salt solution. I am just taking a beaker. How we can make the salt solution? Just take some water inside this beaker and add some amount of salt into this water. Some amount of salt. So after adding the salt to this water, we just want to mix this. Now this is salt plus water, and I can call it as salt solution. This is the name of this. You will study in detail in your higher classes. So, here we are using the process evaporation to separate this salt from this water. When we stir it well, what happens? The salt is completely getting dissolved in the water. So, it is not getting deposited when we are just leaving it undisturbed for some time, or it is not possible to filter using a filter paper, not possible. So, we just want to study another methods to separate this. So, this evaporation is very simple. What? We are just giving some sort of heat. When we are giving heat, this rate of evaporation is getting increased. This evaporation means our water is getting converted to steam. So, our water is just, first this water gets heat, increasing the temperature, start to boil, and then what happens? This boiling water is getting escaped as steam. So, we can say the water is getting escaped like steam, and what you can see inside this beaker, finally the whole water is getting escaped from this, and you will only get the salt at the bottom of our beaker. So the process is this. In this evaporation, we are just heating this mixture, so the water is getting escaped as steam, and you will get the impurity. Here we can call the salt as impurity. So that impurities are getting deposited at the bottom of the beaker. So this is happening in evaporation. Next, distillation. The second method is distillation. You can see a big diagram in your textbook. Now no need of getting worried about that. Actually, you just want to study this in detail in your 9th standard. Distillation. You want to study the separation of mixture in detail. One whole chapter is there. So, you can study this in detail there. Now we are just studying what is this distillation, what happens here. So, that is only thing. You can just observe the diagram that is there in the page number 94. You can see a big detailed diagram. No need of getting confusing about that. I will explain it in very simple manner. For that diagram, you can see a round shaped flask is there. Inside that you can see a glass rod is there dipped, and this is actually not glass rod, this is thermometer that you can see in the laboratories and all, that thermometer. So actually inside this flask or inside this beaker, we are just taking the mixture of salt and water. This is only one example. You will study in detail in your higher classes. We are just taking salt plus water. So, this is the first setup. And then you can see here one attachment is there, and the another setup is this. And here we are just placing another beaker or conical flask or something. So the process is this. Simply we can say it like this. Here we are just heating this mixture. We are just heating this mixture. Here it is salt plus water. So when we are heating this salt plus water means salt solution. So when we are heating the salt solution, what happens? They are getting evaporated. So after some time, they start boiling and then it converted to steam. So that steam is getting traveled through this hole. So here we just close this beaker, and so now steam is getting escaped away from this. They are just trapped inside the setup. So because of this reason, this steam is getting transferred through this, and this pipe is here also. And the thing is this, at this setup we are just giving or something. Our aim is this, to cool this steam. So, because of the setup that we are just keeping here, the steam is getting cooled, and at this point, the steam is converted to water. So, we can collect this water at this point. When we are just putting some beaker here, you will get the clear water or pure water here. And after the whole water is converted to steam, you will get the salt is left at the bottom. So, this is actually the process of distillation. And you only want to study about the evaporation and distillation. So, within this distillation also, we are heating the mixture. And we can call this setup is what? Distillation flask. Distillation flask. So, when we are heating this, what happens? The steam is getting escaped from this and they are just cooling, and we collect it as water. And after the escape all the water, what we get? We get at the bottom, the salt is left. And so this is the distillation. Now the question is this, for the evaporation, there also we are heating the mixture. And so we get the salt at the bottom. For the evaporation, we are collecting the salt solution. Salt solution. This also we are heating, and the steam is escaped. And finally we get the salt at the bottom. Now you just want to look what is the difference between the evaporation and the distillation. The thing is very simple. Here we are not collecting the water. They are just escaped to atmosphere. They are just gone. And only we collected the salt. The last product is only salt. The water is getting escaped. But for the distillation, the process is all same. We are heating this. But the thing is this, at final we get both salt and pure water. That is the difference between our evaporation and distillation. That is the only difference between this evaporation and distillation. Now we only want to understand this thing in such a level. You can study in detail in your higher classes. So this is all about this, and the final topic is this about the purification of drinking water. Purification of drinking water. So, why we are purifying our drinking water? Do all the water is suitable for drinking? No. We can say not all the water is suitable for drinking. That means within our water there are some sort of germs or some chemicals or something are dissolved in it that is harmful to our body. So we can say when we are not using clear water, some sort of diseases will come. That diseases are these: dysentery, cholera, jaundice, etc. These are some of the diseases that will come with contaminated water. Contaminated water means polluted water. So, for avoiding all these diseases, we want to purify our water. How we can purify our water? Very simple. First, we only want to drink the boiled water. That is, we can make our water germ-free by boiling it. Boiling water. When we are boiling our water, what happens? When we are boiling our water, then all the germs present inside our water is getting avoided, or they are just getting died because of the high temperature. We know for boiling the water, the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. Our water will be gets boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. So the thing is this, when it start boiling, all the germs are getting killed. So that's why we are saying that for the boiling water, we can purify our water. This is one method. What is the another method? Is it possible possible to boil water inside our well? No, we can boil the water for our one day purpose and all. We can just take a beaker, fill it with water and boil that. That is only a small amount of water. But is it possible to boil whole water within the well? No. For that we are using another method, and that is chlorination. For our wells we are using this method, chlorination. What is this chlorination? Chlorination means we are adding some chlorine tablets. Chlorine tablets in our water to kill germs. So this either chlorine tablets, or we can also use chlorine powder. So generally we are using this in the rainy season and all. We are just adding some sort of chlorine, chlorine tablets or chlorine powder. We can use it in all seasons. Our aim is to kill the germs. So generally we are using it in our well. That means within the well it is having plenty of water. So logically it's not possible to boil whole water to kill germs. What we can do? We can do the chlorination. That is the second process. And the third process is this. To purify our drinking water, we can use water purifiers. Water purifiers. That means some sort of devices are there or machines are there, like our refrigerator, television, water heater. Like water purifiers are there. You may have water purifiers in your home. So inside that, working with electricity, and we are just giving water to that, and that automatically works and kill the germs. So these water purifiers are very advanced technology, kill germs, and that make some water purifiers make the water cool, some make the water hot water. So that depends upon the company and the properties of the machines and the devices. So we can say for purification of water we can use different methods. One is boiling the water, other is chlorination, and also the last one is what? Water purifiers. So this is all about our today's class. I think it's enough for today. Finally we completed our chapter. Now we just want to do our exercises and we want to complete our notes. In the next class we can discuss the next chapter. So this is all about today's class. Thank you.